This is Michael, and we are at the Hobbit House in Santo António, near Zambujeira in Portugal. And this used to be the place where they used to put the cattle, and we converted it in the Hobbit House.
This video is sponsored by Brilliant. To have a fun time engaging critical thinking, go to brilliant.org/FLORB and sign up for free. The first 200 people to go to that link will get 20% off the annual premium subscription.
The houses were bought by my mother-in-law. She got the first one, the Lagoon House, where she lived for about 10 years. Then she bought this property. She decided to remodel the Hobbit House as it is with a German guy. He's an expert in organic construction. At some point, it was too much for her, and she gave it to us so that we could do something with it. The houses were empty for a long time already, so we had to do a lot of stuff because they are made of Taipa, that it's a natural way of doing the houses here in this part of the country, mainly earth with stones and compressed earth. They always need a lot of maintenance. I was a designer for the last 20 years, but when we started doing this, I just quit my job at the time, and we decided to put all our strengths in the houses, and I don't know, and offering something different to the guests that come to us. It's earth, it moves a lot, so it gets a lot of cracks, and so we have to redo some parts of the walls and paint everything, and so it's mainly those kind of things. This is the Hobbit House. Going for a quick tour. We have the porch. We made it all with treated wood. All the rocks are rocks from the soil here. The house is made of Taipa. That is the traditional way of doing the houses here. It's all compressed mud and stones. Used to be where they stock the cattle. So we had to dig a little bit on the ground, so we had a little bit more height. You just pick it up from the ground, put a little bit of water on it, and then you have, they call it taipais, wood frames, and they put them, and then they just drop the mud inside, and then you have a pillar, so you just hit the mud until it's really nicely compressed, and then you just repeat this process, so you have all the full wall, and then it goes up. So you do 1, 2, 3, 4, for example, and then you put on top of it, and just people going on top of it and compressing the mud, so it gets this really hard structure. Just mud. You can put a little bit of cal also. It's like this natural plaster. You can put it in between the layers of mud, so it gets a little bit thicker and a little bit glued, or you can just put the mud. Usually just put the mud. Mainly all the houses are done like this here in this side of the country. It's really good for the heating and for maintaining the house cold in the summer. In the winter, again, it's all the moisture. Usually you have a base of stone, so the moisture doesn't come from the ground. And during the summer with the heat, it just gives away the moisture, and the house has this kind of really fresh feeling. The walls are really thick. You just need a point of heating, and it gets warm very fast. The material doesn't cost almost anything because you can grab it from the land. The most costly thing is the manpower. The frames were done from maritime plywood, and they were all tiled by hand. You cut pieces of plywood and then just glue them one on top of each other. Cut one piece and then do the form, and then you cut another piece and put it up, and you'd go and construct it a little bit like that. It's like the door. Let me show you. So this is one big piece, and then it has this effect that it was glued here. It's the same for the windows. The paint is cal. It just needs to breathe. The moisture has to come out. So you can't do with cement. You can't put cement, so you can only put cal. If you put cement on this kind of walls, the house will reject the cement. It just comes out. The only thing you can do is plaster with cal and then paint it with cal, because it lets the house breathe. It's almost like a living organism. It's the way that it works well. The tiles from the ceiling, they are just put on top of each other, and they just stand the weight of each other. The problem is they break a lot, and then with the wind they just flow, but it's also the traditional kind of tile. This is the kitchen, living room, dining room. It's a nice place also. It's really fresh during the summer. The country was made from the trees here. It's from a azinheira. It's a really hard kind of wood. The sink, it's brass. It has to be polished all the time, otherwise it gets green. It gives a really nice effect. The windows, this part, all the effects that you see in the doors, is what I've done with cob. It's with straw and mud. Otherwise you can't really do this shape. The electricity, we have it from the company. It comes from the other house. We have a stove, we have a fridge, and we have the boiler for the water. Here is gas. This piece came from Antiquaria, I think. It's forge iron. We used to cook here because it has the things to cook. When we don't want to use it, we just use the electrical heaters, and it gets, the house gets warm really, really quick. And here we have the bedroom and bathroom and shower. We have the toilet, we have the shower cabin that for me it's one of the more special features of the house, because it's like a cocoon shell where you go inside and take a bath, and all the structure is really, really, really beautiful. The same process, it's straw and mud. So it was all made by hand, compressed mud with the straw and put it piece by piece until it made this structure. It's the same as this wall. The structure of the house is Taipa. These more organic shapes are made of cotton and straw, yeah. This is a double bed. We lived here with our first kid at the beginning. Used to stay here like 6 months of the year. For 3 people, it's okay. For 4, it's a little bit tight. It's a double bed, and then we have the cabinet. The wood was bought new. The ceiling is new. The isolation is in cork. It's really good for isolation, not as aggressive of other synthetic kind of isolation that you have on the market. It's also Portuguese, so and you have a lot in this area. The floor is Santa Catarina. It's a traditional tile from the Algarve, and you can find it also in some places here in the Alentejo, but it comes from the Algarve. Here you have the toilet, and we have an Asian shower also. My mother-in-law, she decided to put this, so we had 2 toilets. This one we don't use it, actually, it's not used that much. We also have the sink, kind of same way of the kitchen sink also. You have the legs from the tree, and then you have the window also with the same kind of style of the rest of the house. The acoustic of the house, it seems like you're inside of a shell because the walls are so thick. The sound seems different also, and the coziness of the house also. It gets, especially during the night when you just have the lights on, and it gets a little bit warmer. It's the feeling that I have also. Well, if you're really into it, look for a piece of land, a piece of property, and buy it, and then just start bit by bit. You don't need a lot of money to do it. Just buy something a little bit smaller maybe, and just put your hands in the work and start doing the things, you know, step by step, weekend by weekend, vacation by vacation. The things are possible, you know, and if you really like the countryside, it's always a good choice. You lose some things, obviously, but you gain so much more, you know. Peace of mind, you rest, and you have all this green, you have the pure air, you have so many things that you gain, you know. So you have a lot of challenges. You just have to figure out how to do it. And sometimes you don't have the resources to do it, and you have to invent. So that's one of the main things that I would take from here.
Sometimes it can be hard to think in a logical way, and that's where today's sponsor, Brilliant, comes in handy. Brilliant is a great problem-solving based website and app that is full of fun problems and challenges. Brilliant has over 60 interactive courses in logic, math, science, and computer science. Take, for example, this fun little challenge. Gary, Harry, and Larry just bought their first cars. Each of the proud triplets is about to register his new vehicle. In Brilliant, where they live, license plates consist of numbers alone that are assigned at random. What is the probability that at least 2 brothers get a plate with an even number? I've personally been looking for an app that when I have like 5 or 10 minutes And instead of scrolling through Instagram or some sort of social media, I can get on an app and actually challenge my brain and improve my cognitive functions. And Brilliant is great for that, because if I've got a few minutes, I can open up the app, do one or two of the challenges. They really force me to think. And then after that, I can continue on with my day knowing that that time was spent productively and that I've improved the way I think about the world. So if you are interested in checking out Brilliant, then check out the link in the description below and go to brilliant.org/FLORB and sign up for free. And the first 200 of you to use the link will get 20% off your annual premium subscription. Thank you for watching. Have a great week.